I'm Vivian, and today I'm talking about the books I'd like to read in July, and I'm setting up my reading journal for the month. So I've got an interesting mix of fiction and nonfiction. Stick around. I'm telling you what all 8 books on my July reading list are all about. Okay, so like usually I start with my book club book. And this month, the Treehouse Book Club is reading Legacy by Nora Roberts. Okay, so this book starts off with the main character's father trying to kill her as a child, and then he ends up dead himself, which I suppose is what should happen when you try to kill your own child, right? Or any child, or like any person, really. Unless you have legal justification for the killing, like self-defense or something, right? But then the story is about Adrienne, who is the main character, her relationship with her mother, who apparently steps in to stop the killing. But then she sends Adrienne off to live with her grandparents and is sort of absent then from Adrienne's life, right? So Adrienne grows up to become this yoga fitness celebrity woman, which well done. And everything's great until she starts getting death threats. And then apparently the murders start. Dun, dun. So I haven't read Nora Roberts in 100 years, and I am super excited to read this one, right? Family drama, mystery and suspense, some reconnecting with an old flame, right? I don't know, sounds good. Next is a newish sort of book by Rosen called Alternate Endings. Is about a single mother named Beatrice who has a complicated life. Her ex lives downstairs in the brownstone that they own together. And then her boss is getting divorced. And then somehow that means that Beatrice has to work in Ireland twice a month instead of New York City, which then makes the custody arrangement with her and her ex complicated. And then her company hires a guy who turns out to be the boy that broke her heart 20 years ago. So yeah, complicated. Her life is complicated. And by the way, this is now the second book where I have a character reconnecting with an old flame. Next is a book called Maame? I don't know, I'm saying it wrong. By Jessica George. I'm sorry, I'm completely mispronouncing the title. I don't know how to say it. I wanted to say it Maame, but in the blurb it says Maame, so I still don't know how to say it. But anyway, this book is about a woman named Maddie who lives in London, and she's taking care of her father who has Parkinson's. And her mom spends most of the time in Ghana, but her mom returns from a trip, and Maddie is like, I'm out, right? I'm moving out. I'm starting my own life. And so she moves into this apartment. She gets a roommate, and she's going out for drinks after work and starting the internet dating, as you do. But then tragedy strikes, and Maddie is forced to face the true nature of her unconventional family and the perils and rewards of putting her heart on the line. So we've got themes of family duty, racism, female pleasure, the complexity of love, and the life-saving power of friendship, which are all things that I believe in 100%. Also, listen to this part of the blurb. Most important, this book explores what it feels like to be torn between 2 homes and cultures, and it celebrates finally being able to find where you belong. Maame is a New York Times bestseller, a Read with Jenna book club pick, a February 2023 Indie Next pick, and it is one of my picks for July. Next is a book called Remember Us by Lindsay Blake and Layne James. And honestly, I picked this one because I thought the cover was cute. I'm not even kidding you. Look, it's cute, right? So Ben and his twin sister Reese are back in their childhood home to take care of their father who has cancer. Another book about people taking care of their family. But a few days, so they're back in their childhood home. A few days after they arrive, their mother, Bernice, who has been gone for like 13 years, right? Like she just walked out of the house and never came back. Well, she comes back. And they all have to get reacquainted and deal with everything that's going on with their dad. And now they have to deal with everything that's going on with their mom and their family. And I feel like that's going to be good to read. But what I really like is the description of these supporting characters. Listen, we have Guru Carl, J.R.R. Tolkien, a rusty VW van named Ernie. I mean, come on. If this book doesn't make me laugh while also breaking my heart a little bit, then whoever wrote the description of the book should be fired. Fired. This next book is from Zoe Folbigg, and I'm reading it because I read Fairy Tale of New York last Christmas time, and I loved it so much that I was like, I'm going to read everything Zoe Folbigg ever wrote next year. And I wrote it down in my reading journal, and now half the year is over, and I've read exactly 0 more of her books. So it's time. Here we go. The Three Loves of Sebastian Cooper is about 3 women who are sitting at Sebastian Cooper's funeral mourning his death. I know it's like really dark. So the 3 women, we've got Sebastian's wife of 20 years, the mother of his children. We've got the woman that Sebastian left his wife for. And then the third woman was apparently Sebastian's lover and the last person to see him alive. And I already hate this guy. So the blurb promises an utterly compelling and page-turning tale of love, betrayal, family, and unlikely friendships. And I feel like, yeah, and I like those kinds of tales. So that's 5 fiction. On to the nonfiction. First, we have Stories I'd Tell in Bars by Jen Lancaster. And this will be my 3rd Jen Lancaster this year. And so honestly, I should be doing an all by Jen Lancaster challenge because I would be ahead instead of behind. This is a collection of essays where Jen just sort of talks about the kind of stuff that you would talk about with your friends over cocktails in a bar, right? She tells a story about taking a community policing class, a story about accidentally getting high with her waiter, something about something that happened at a cheese counter. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So just the kinds of conversations about life that you would have with your friends, which are my favorite kinds of conversations. And after reading 3 of her books this year, I feel like Jen and I are friends, right? I have been looking for a book about money and finances and how and what and where and why for a while, ever since I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which was terrible. Anyway, someone recommended We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. And they warned me that it was a little cringy, but that it changed the way they looked at money and it was good. So we'll see. I'm going to read it in July. And Rachel is Wonder Woman on the cover, and I think that is a good sign. And sentence 1 of the blurb says, "Are you ready to fill your life with more peace, power, and joy?" Yeah, I am. I am. So apparently, this book gives you a realistic, achievable, step by step approach to creating the support, confidence, and plan you need to own your success and become the millionaire the world needs you to be. And I am all about realistic, achievable, step by step processes, right? I am not sure that the world needs me to be a millionaire, but I am open to the idea. And the last book on my July reading list is called The Pivot Year by Brianna Wiest. And this isn't a book so much as it's a book with some daily meditations that Brianna has designed to help us bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to be. To help us convince our mind to act consistently on what our heart already knows it wants to do. I mean, this sounds good, right? What could be bad about any of that? Nothing. I'm going to start this book in July. It's daily meditation, so I suppose this one will be on my list for the next 12 months, right? Unless I don't find it helpful after the next 31 days. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. And that's it. 8 books on my reading list for July. If you want to see what I read in June, check out this video. Or check out the playlist with all of my monthly reads from the past year or so. Thanks for watching. See you next time.